You guys could hear me typing. How's everybody doing? Let's do a brief audio and visual check. It sounds like you could hear me. Make sure you can hear and see. You can hear me typing behind the screen, but looks good, sounds good. How's everybody doing? How was your trading day? How was your night so far? I just got finished up literally 30 minutes ago with that Topstep Labs. That was a 2-hour class. It was fun. I'm going on a marathon. I did slow markets. I can't even think. I did the power hour. We did that 2-hour Topstep Labs. That was absolutely amazing. 20 traders. It was nice. We took the time. We went in depth, and I mean, it was a very good and a very fun learning experience. I enjoyed it because I didn't have to follow a chat that was going extremely fast and I couldn't really keep up, right? There's only 20 traders, and so it was nice to be able to take the time, take those 2 hours, and really go in depth on some of that good stuff. So that being said, welcome to Slow Markets, everybody. If you guys don't know, I'm Coach Dakota, and this is Slow Markets. As always, in the YouTube chat, there is our Topstep risk disclosure. Everything that I say and will be talking about tonight is for educational purposes only. We know that. And let's get to it. We'll go through our regular rapid fire. We'll talk about the markets. We'll analyze it. Maybe we'll talk and see a few trades that set up. I have my live account queued up and ready to go. And we'll get to some questions other than what is a 3-bar reversal, Bernie. That being said, let's get to it. The Nasdaq daily chart. Starting to look very familiar. If you guys were here last night, remember what I was looking at and talking about. If we look over to the left, I mean, you see, this was something I was thinking of and was watching it. Are we going to see something similar? I mean, I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at this as a consolidation still. We're in a consolidating market, kind of consolidating down into the right a little bit, which can be good, where, this has been a decent pullback where, if we do find some good news and we start the rally, is this a pullback for a continuation higher? Possibly, but until then, it's been in a consolidation mode. If we take a look at an hourly chart, it's more of the same. You can see consolidation. Today during the New York session, it looks like we tried to break out, rejected, went straight back down. Even to the downside, we tried to kind of break out. It looks like at least we tested this low, but we didn't. We rallied right back up. And so I think tonight is going to be more of the same. I think we can see this continuation of consolidation. And I don't see a reason why not, right? It's just trade what's in front of us until it changes, until the market changes. And so, yeah, I see this market staying within this consolidation range. And until then, I'm going to trade this market like we're consolidating, where we're buying the lows, selling the highs, and maybe taking some shorter scalps or shorter term trades as we're headed to the lows and as we're headed to the highs. And that's it. It sounds simple, but it can be very complex depending on how you trade it. And if I zoom into a 5-minute chart, actually looking a little bullish right now, to be honest. I could see that we've been in a downtrend since we went up and ran for liquidity, ran some stops. We tried to break out, and we've been kind of selling off. And we're hovering right down here near the 130s. Maybe we're consolidating. If we do start to break out and break above these 142s, can we see a rotation back up to these 50s? I'm not sure. It's interesting. This is an interesting level because that was an area of resistance during the New York session. There was some major consolidation a few times during the London session, which I'm going to be joining Dee in the morning for this London session. And yeah, maybe we see some support hold up here. Let's see if we can break above that. That's one thing I'm looking at tonight. Let's move on to crude oil. We'll do our regular roundabout, and then I'll get to some questions. Take a look at crude. Crude was a really interesting thing today, where we went down to that $67 a barrel. I mean, this is what I was looking for. I didn't expect this. We got there nonetheless, and then we immediately shot right back up to 68 3/4. And you know, sure enough, this has held as support and it's becoming support again. And so my next question on Crude is this a sign? Did we just reverse? Is that the bottom? Is this kind of a pullback? And are we going to see a move back up towards 68.71? Possibly. Possibly we could see a move. I think I'm still on the fence because we're still in a very bearish, and there's a lot of like selling momentum. There's a lot of bearish momentum to this downside, and you can see some moves like this. I personally, the way that I'm seeing this is I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to see if we can have a breakout and then a retest and then maybe a continuation. So that could be one scenario I'm looking for in Crude. Or maybe we just consolidate just like the Nasdaq. I'm not sure. I think we're just going to wait. Coach Hoop is in the chat saying tomorrow to January looks Crude roll day is tomorrow. So it is in rollover. So, I mean, you see some crazy stuff happening in rollover anyway, which is what we're seeing here. Now let's move on. Let's take a look at the Nikkei. Nikkei, it's sailing off. Nikkei is at 890 for a moment. I'm looking at this area to become support. So if we look at the Nikkei, very similar to the Nasdaq as what I'm watching. Last night, we did get that major sell-off down to 38,700. And the way that I'm seeing the Nikkei tonight is, you know, here's a level of support. We have a double bottom. We ran liquidity down here. We've rallied up. And we were consolidating. And so I'm staying to see that this Nikkei holds above this consolidation level. Maybe we could get a push right back up to the 39,000, maybe make new highs. But I am starting to get a little bit bullish on the Nikkei. And I could see that there's a possibility that we hold this. I'm seeing this as a double bottom. We broke out and above this double bottom. And so let's see if we could get some buyers stepping here in the Nikkei and get into some longs. But I am bullish on the Nikkei. Let's look at the 5-minute chart. And yeah, this is the level I'm wanting to hold. We did open up. This is 5-minute Nikkei. If you guys don't know, it's the Japanese market. And we rallied all the way up to 39,135. And then we got this pullback. And this pullback was an area where I was wanting to buy, and this was actually a pretty decent trade in terms of buying a pullback and then looking for this thing to rotate back up. However, it looks like we did not find buyers at that level. We've sold off down to the lower end of this consolidation right here. And so maybe there's another opportunity to get in long. This is something I am liking as well, with stops, you know, either somewhere below that, somewhere below like 820, depending on how wide I want my stop. But yeah, this is one I actually might just jump in it. Well, I'm gonna watch it again. You can see we consolidated there. That could have been an opportunity. We're consolidating here, and then right now we're sitting at 38,900. So I could see this thing rotating back up. This is the Nasdaq. Jump in. Don't blame you guys for missing it. Jump in and not blame you guys. Okay. I might just jump in here. I want to see this. I'm watching the DOM as well. I don't jump in and then I blame you guys. Let's see if we could get it. It's starting to pick up. Just buy in the bottom. Ooh, don't want 15. Want 1. Almost got in there with 15. See if we could add that. Let's see. Let's see if we'll get us a fill at 905. 905. Someone already front ran me. Yeah, they're not letting me get this 905s. NQ, somebody yeah, show us how to lose money. I mean, I lose a lot more than I win. That's a fact. Yeah, now it's not going to let me in. We're sitting. Look, we could watch the DOM over here on the right, and you can see my order. You can see my order at 905, but the market is pushing into these 20s and 30s. I'm going to cancel that order. And yeah, there you go. See how it's a live order? Do you see how there's 4 contracts right there? I could add mine, 5 contracts, 4 contracts. So that's where I'm wanting to buy it at 905. But it didn't let me in. Did not let me in on that one. We'll see if it'll give us a second chance. Maybe not. Maybe like sometimes these markets just go, and I missed the opportunity, and we're seeing this thing. We're seeing this thing run. We're okay. All right. Moving on. I'm gonna go ahead and actually do what I've been doing, so I don't want to miss it. So I'm gonna go ahead and create another chart, which I should do anyway. And I'm going to watch this. I'm going to watch the Nikkei. We're going to keep the Nikkei up, the Nikkei up on the right-hand side. And let's move on. Let's talk about gold. Gold's over here on the left-hand side. And I'm going to keep the Nikkei up on the right-hand side. And there's Rips. Rips is joining. Rips is long. Rips is going long in the Nikkei as well. All right. I like it. Probably in before I did. In my live account. Anyway, Rips is up, joining slow markets, trading slow markets. Man, I don't know if Rips sleeps. Maybe I might be staying up. I'm going to be joining D in the London session, and I know Rips wakes up really early. So take a look at gold. Gold has been on quite the sell-off. What a move! Let me look at a higher time frame. Let's take a look at the daily, and how far do we go on gold? I mean, what a move from 2,800 all the way down to 2,571. I think I might start to look for longs here in gold, because there's a nice level right around 2560s. I mean, it's a zone. This is a decent level on the daily chart. So I'm curious to see if this is going to hold up. I'm going to zoom in on the hourly. And once again, we are continuing to sell off. Last night, I did let that... I left a runner on a long last night. And it did stop out. Minus, I think it was like $200. But that's after I already took quite a bit for profit. But look at this. I mean... This is a definition of a bearish trend. We have a sell-off, consolidation, sell-off. We had that pullback that we were talking about last week. Then a sell-off. We have a little bit of a consolidation, which is a flagging pattern, bearish flag, breakdown, selling off, and we're selling off tonight. And so where do we stop? I don't know. Here's what we was looking at the daily chart. You see this consolidation. This was a nice consolidation level. So I'm curious if this consolidation or this resistance at the upper end of this consolidation back in August is going to hold up as support. I don't know. I think it's just we're barely starting to get down there. And I'd like to see us, maybe we could get down to the 50s, maybe the lower 60s. We did have these 2 levels. There's this one right here. This was a major support at 72s. And then we have this major resistance right at the 70s. And that's kind of where we're at. We're right in between those two. Yeah, I don't want to buy it for no reason. I want to see this market find some structure. We need structure, whether it's any type of structure to show us, like, are we going to get a 3-bar reversal? Are we going to get consolidation and then a rally? I want to see that. And the way that I want to see it is I want it to be at an area of support and resistance, which, this is the start. I would much rather see it come closer to these 2560 to like these lower 2560s would be my preference. That's where I want to see some structure. That's where I want to see a reversal pattern to get in long on gold. So now that's talking from a little bit of a higher, like an hourly chart. And Rips is saying they're adding long the Nikkei here. 38,965. Yeah, we're bouncing. We're bouncing off of that. I blame the chat for me missing my entry. Right? Dang it, if it wasn't for the chat, I would have been long all the way down here at the very bottom, and I would have been up so much money. It didn't give me that price. It didn't fill me at the price I wanted, unfortunately. So we'll see if it sets up again. Maybe we get a little bit of a pullback down here to like 25, 30, and then I could get into a long. I'm still watching it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. That being said, let's take a look at a 5-minute chart as we zoom in here on gold. And you can see every little bounce, any rally on gold has been met by a lot of selling, right? Here's a rally, major move down, and even this evening, right, where we it looks like we did find some buyers for a minute and then straight back down. So this is a tough market to buy here in gold, and I think it's just wait to see if we could get down to these 2560 level and see if we could find some support there. If not, I don't want to sell it down here. Now I know that's like, yeah, of course, if we continue down and it's like, yeah, any sell all the way on the down would have worked out and been profitable, but it's hard to manage risk when it comes to a market like this. We are consolidating, and sure, we could continue down to those 60s, but it's just hard for me to find any short or any area to sell it until we get, you know, a pullback. And then, like, well, that one would have been a tough one because it's a nice move and an immediate reversal. But maybe little pullbacks like we have been seeing on gold to short this. Until then, waiting on my hands on gold. I'm going to make another round. There's Nasdaq. Nasdaq is finding some buyers, at least for the short term. We're catching some buyers. We're up to 145, and you know, maybe the Nasdaq would have been a better long to catch. Let's go to. I'm going around here. Can I look at copper? I don't trade copper, and so I don't think it would be fair to give any opinion based off of that. Crude oil, and we can watch gold. And then, of course, Bitcoin. I just don't know what I feel about Bitcoin anymore, everybody. Last night, I was buying Bitcoin down here again in the simulated account, of course, and it stopped me out, and then look what it did, just straight up. We got up to 94,000, and then just dropped like a rock down to looks like 88,600, and now we're above 9,000, 90,000. We're 90,400. So I don't know. I'm continuing to I'm going to continuously watch Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, it's just been something that everyone's been watching. I've been playing around with it. And that's it. That's it. It's been the talk of the town. Everyone's been talking about it, so I've been talking about it, right? Says, you don't do copper, but you'll do Bitcoin. I do not have the confidence to talk about copper. Coach Jay is amazing when it comes to copper, but essentially, I look at copper, silver, and gold as very similar. Yeah, when I'm looking at like the metals, like copper, silver, gold, I look at them very similar, even though they do have their own personalities. They do react differently. For me, it's hard to trade. I don't trade it. To me, it's not worth my time to expand my attention span and just even more, right? So I always suggest traders focus on one market. I've been talking about Bitcoin because that's just what everyone's been interested in lately. Yeah, I mean, I am going to be trading London session tonight. It's going to be interesting. Bitcoin, every single time I look at Bitcoin, I'm just saying, let's just buy it. And I end up buying it at all the wrong places without the right proper wide enough stop. But I think it's bullish. I'm bullish Bitcoin, right? Let's move on. Let's move on before I get into another trade in Bitcoin. Nasdaq still looking strong right now. A lot of chop. Nikkei still hovering, sitting at 38,950. So let's get to some more questions. I'm going to get to some questions. Let's get to them. We do have typically a spike in volatility right at 8 p.m. Central. Let's get to it. Dakota, what's your average risk WR and RR? So my risk reward is typically around 3 to 1. 2 to 1, 3 to 1. My win percentage is about 30%. 30%. Why do you not trade YM? I've never traded YM consistently. And like I said, it's one of those where there's so many markets. I've been asked I've been asked that same question about almost every market. Like, hey, Coach Dakota, why do you not trade natural gas? Hey, why don't you trade this? Why don't you trade lean hogs? Why don't you trade that and this? To me, I trade the Nasdaq. That is my main trade. I trade the Nasdaq. I've been trading the Nikkei. I've been trading crude oil. I mean, what you see every night is what I trade. But I would say 90% of my trades is in the Nasdaq. So Nasdaq is my market that I'm trading when I'm trading here at Topstep with this account. Hogs aren't lean. Okay, what is your preferred time frame to find support and resistance? You guys seen it right here. You seen I was looking at the 1 hour chart, and then I zoom into the 5 minute chart. I like looking at the 1 hour, then the 5 minute. 5 minute is my main time frame I watch. One thing I'm looking at right now is this pattern. We've been honoring this downtrend line, and I'm going to be curious to see if we do break through this downtrend, if we could rally. I'm going to see if I could go ahead and get into, let's see if we get into this long on the Nikkei. There we go. Let's see if we could get into a long. Okay, it filled me. I'm going to focus on the Nikkei. You guys could, whoever wanted to, right? They said they wanted to watch me lose money. Here you go. You guys could watch that. You could watch me do it live in front of you. That's actually a pretty good stop loss. I like that stop loss. I'm in one contract on the Nikkei. And here we go. Let's see. I'm going to, where's the, add a chain link. Oh, straight down. Straight down. I don't want to do that. Add chart link. Am I doing this? Oh, it's already there. As soon as I got in, straight down. So the one trade I finally get in. Okay, let's keep getting to some more of these questions. On a 50K XFA, what would be your daily target profit? If you're in a 50K account, I would say $100. It's hard to say a daily profit target because it just depends on the market. I would 100% focus on process over profits. Look at how much you're risking per trade. If there's only one trade setup, that's okay. If there's 2 trade setups, great. 3 trade setups, but focus on quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. So I don't have a daily profit goal to say, oh, if we make this much, then you're good. Based off the account size, it's take the trade. If it works out, great. If there's only one trade, then you're only able to take one trade, right? But then if there's 3 trades, then if all 3 of those trades win, that's great. Maybe you're making $400. Maybe you're making $600. I would say there's a daily loss limit for me and the way that I look at the markets, but not a daily profit target. Going through some of these questions, how much profit should you have before you decide to scale up? It depends on you. Some traders like to scale up after a month of consistency. Some traders like to scale up after 3 months. Some don't even look at the profit when determining to scale up. And then some other traders that I talk to use, this thing's going to stop me out, isn't it? This Nikkei trade's going to stop me out. But some, going back to the conversation of topic, some traders like to put dollar amount limits. Yeah, here we go. Straight back, straight down. I would say it depends on what market you're trading too. It does depend on what market you're trading. Quality over quantity. I can't give a good enough answer to that question. I'm sorry. But I manifest it to happen? Nah, no. Markets will move in whatever they do regardless of what I say. That is the reality. Minus $500. So regardless of what I say, the markets will do what they want. I've stopped believing in manifestation or any of that. Question about the Nikkei and the yen. Do they have correlation, inverse correlation? I have not looked at correlation on those. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, that was the trade setup. That was my trade setup. I'll take that every single time. I mean, it looks like we were building some support, and I was willing to take the risk, which is fine. Risking $500 to make 500 and maybe even have it as a runner. I don't mind that. Yeah, I actually really liked that trade, to be honest. That was a good one from my end. Let's see, is Nasdaq selling off too? Nah, Nasdaq's not moving very much. Let's go around these. Gold's selling off. Look, gold's going straight down. Taz Trader short wheat. I'm gonna continue to watch this. I might end up buying this thing again. We'll see. If we could get down, if we do get down to an area of support and we turn around, I might. We'll see. This thing, I might not. Wow. Wow. What a move. What a move in this market. That's wow. 1%. 1% right there. I tell you what. Is there any news that came out? I'm not seeing anything. Australian, there's nothing planned. But what a move. Basically, you erase that entire leg. Yeah, this is... What a freaking move. What a move. How's Nikkei trading live? Hope are there fills? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do the measured move analysis, please. Yeah, let's do that. We could take a look at this. I mean, there's one, there's another. Are we going to get a measured move tonight to the downside? This thing looked like we were going to find some support, and it's just straight down. Straight down. Why wouldn't there be fills? I'm not sure. This market is just that's crazy. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. We went from 38,955 down to 38,665. 665. Wow. We're at 665. Two things I'm looking at right now is this going to be support? is this going to be support, or are we just going straight down? Are we going to blow through all of this? Because we might just blow through all of this now. 570 looking juicy to the downside. Yeah, this lower pivot looking decent. We're getting a pretty decent bounce right there at 720. The previous day low is 525. Yep, that's the previous day low. I'm not seeing anything too crazy now. Find some support. You should start a 50K combine and show us how to grow it. Yeah, I mean, I'm trading live. This is my live account. I'd rather trade my live account, or maybe I could do that. Is there a correlation between the Nikkei so we can expect the Nasdaq to sell off? No, I don't pay attention to the correlation between the different markets. I really don't. So I can't really say there's a correlation between these two markets or that. I would say in a general sense, if the Nikkei has a major sell-off during slow markets, the Nasdaq can tend to have some bearish pressure, but you can see there's a big difference. Here's the Nasdaq, and then here's the Nikkei. Like, that is a major difference between them. And so I wouldn't expect anything or trade anything on correlation. I'm gonna watch the Nikkei. I'm in my live account. The Nikkei is moving, and if I see a trade, I'm taking it again. I don't mind. Let's get to some more of these questions. I'm gonna see. Cool. Lots of questions tonight. Lots of questions. What's your? Let's go through. Do you use 10 seconds to take a trade? How many trades do you take a day? I typically take 3 to 5 trades a day. It depends on the session. Depends on the time. Depends on how the markets are moving. But quality over quantity. So watch this thing. Watch. I'm going to see if we could get another pullback, and I'm going to get in long. I'm going to get in long the Nikkei again. On a 50K, what would be your daily? Going through some of these questions. Inverse head and shoulders on the Nikkei. That's a little bit of what I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say. I was looking at this level to become support, and we are bouncing pretty dang strong here. I'm not going to chase it. I am not going to chase it. I'm going to look for maybe something like this, and then look for continuation. But too often it can just go back up to these 800s. It went straight down to 675. Wow. Wow, that was insane. Wow, I have no words to this. Went straight down there. 665, 675, and then turned around on a dime. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna, if there's any other markets that are moving, let me know. I'm gonna keep my eyes on the Nikkei tonight. So let's get to some questions and going through some of these. How do personal daily loss limits work with it bypassing them? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Slingshot reversal for you. Yeah, that was quite the reversal off the bottom. I want to see market structure here. Is the Nasdaq moving at all? Nasdaq, it moved, but not as much. We're kind of consolidating here at 21,132s. And this is the 1 minute. I'll go back to the 5 minute. I'm going to go ahead and do the double chart thing. Markets don't move too much. Let's take a look at, let's go to the Nikkei. Really watching the Nikkei tonight. Really watching the Nikkei. Let's see if we get back down to 720. See if we can see 720 come back into play. Let's see how it reacts at 720. You guys can see everything okay? Yeah, you guys can see it all. All right, here we are. 720, 715. 710. Ooh, yeah, that's straight back. Straight back. Let's see. Now I'm going to watch. See how we are going to react around that. Three-bar reversal. I mean, not yet here on the 5-minute chart. But we're not seeing too much here in terms of market structure. We're at this level of support. So this is the first level of support that I'm watching that we might, I mean, we did get that first bounce. Usually the first bounce is the better. The second is a little bit more difficult. But see how we're holding these 710, 715. So we held it again. That might have been it. Yeah, we're still holding 720. I'm going to watch it. The more time we spend down here, the more I like it. You can't really see too much off of this, so maybe I could move that to the 100 tick chart. And you kind of see what I'm looking at. Where we came down, we're hovering right here. Yeah, now we're pushing to the, trying to hold 700. Still hanging out here. Okay, I just jumped into one. I'm going to risk about the same at the bottom of this pivot. Let's see how this one plays out. Risking 475. 475 on this. I'm risking this pivot that we've seen right there. And there's still a little bit of support. So let's see if we can get a little bit of a bounce back up. So let's see it. So there we go. Let's see if we could rally. Not too great of a risk reward. About a 1-to-1. A little bit better than a 1-to-1. Maybe I could get a 2-to-1 if we do get a nicer bounce. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this market reacts and go from there. But I like that we held it. That's what I was watching for, how we reacted over here on the DOM. I was looking at that for a minute to see how we was going to be reacting. And we acted pretty good. That was a good one. I liked that. Just one contract. Called it earlier. The markets are collapsing tonight. I mean, if you call this collapsing, I don't know. I mean, maybe they will. We'll see. I'm going to be during the London session, so we're going to find out. We are definitely going to be finding out. Anyone looking at gold? I haven't looked at gold. Well, we did, right? But I'm in the trade. I'm in a trade right now. So I'm focusing on this trade first. I'm actually going to change this up so it doesn't mess me up too much. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this the way that I like to see it. Yeah. I'm going to watch this. If we do break above, 780, if we could break above 780, right there, 780, I want to turn that white. So if we could break above 780, I'm going to move my stop. I'm going to cut my risk a lot shorter. Still only risking 475, not too much. Keep going and watching this. And feel free to ask questions. Feel free to ask questions. Why is gold selling like this? I don't know. We'll take a look at gold after I'm done with this trade. We'll see. We'll see what gold's doing after this one. This is my live account. I'm focusing on it. I might end up moving my stop to 660. 660. I want to see us break through these 80s, 780. It might slow down too. We might slow down a lot. It is slow markets, and sometimes when we get to a level here, especially in the Nikkei, we could just kind of stop and go sideways for a while. Can we talk about adding to a winner? Yeah, after this, I could go through that. How do you determine your targets? Same way I determine my entries. Support and resistance. So support and resistance is very big for me. I really like my stops, my take profits for reasons. So the first thing I'm looking at right now is for my profit. Maybe we could take a look at 845. 845 could be a take profit. Maybe 860. And then, over here is another level of support, like maybe 880. So those are the three areas. The more short term, if I'm looking to just close this a little bit early, could very well be like 790. 790 could be a take profit as well. And so I'm just looking at these little areas where there's support and resistance, and that's all it is to it. And sometimes I don't like to just put a take profit like this. A lot of times I like to wait and see the market get there, and if the market does get there, I'll see how it reacts, and then I'll just like join ask or close it out manually. Can we use this for the Nasdaq? I'm not sure what you mean by that question. If you can use this for the Nasdaq. Three bar forming on the 5 minute. Yeah, so far this might be a 3-bar reversal. Technically maybe about 780. This is looking good. This is looking good now so far. Yeah, it's looking really good. The gold downtrend is maturing on the 1 minute. 3-bar reversal on the NQ. This moves like nickels. It's $25 a tick. This is $25 a tick. So even though it might move slow, these are big moves. These in terms of dollar amounts. I'm only in one contract, and you can see it's $25 a tick. I want to see if we could break above these 80s. Break above these 80s, I'm moving my stop, limiting risk. Let's take a look at NQ. Yeah, 3-bar reversal on the NQ on the 5 minute. I could see that. That makes sense. Like I said, this is slow markets. It's very hard to say on that reversal. But I could see that. I see what you're saying on that one. It's slow markets. It's very slow. So not the same type of style, and it's not the same type of trading as what you see on the New York session during fast markets. It's a lot slower. This trade could last an hour. This trade could last 3 hours. You just don't know. It's slow markets. I like to get into a position just like last night. If you've seen it, I was in a gold trade. I'm just like, okay, I closed out some of it. If the trade moves in my direction relatively quicker, then I could close out for some profit. Can I let this thing run overnight? Yes, I can. And I could have my stop loss. I could have my take profit. And yeah, that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten up my stop just a little bit on that tick right there. We touched 780. So let's see if we could get some momentum. I want to see some momentum here. We didn't get it. We did not get any momentum on that one. We did touch 780 and just have it. I'm watching the DOM as well. Watching the DOM, seeing how it's reacting. Do you ever use a trailing stop if you let the trade run overnight? No, I do not. The only time I trail it is when I trail it manually. I don't automate any of my trailing stops or what I do in the market. How about Bitcoin? Focusing on this right now, and then we can talk about a different market. So answering questions, I'm keeping this up. I'm not going to miss out on anything. So we'll see. What are you looking for on the DOM? So I'm looking for, so I'm not a DOM trader. Okay. I'm not good at it, but what I'm looking for is how the bid and ask is, right? Do you see how it's reacting sometimes, especially on the Nikkei and especially during slow markets, is that, if the bid and ask starts to drift higher without prices being filled, do you see how it's drifting lower? See how the bid and ask is below where the last filled price is, right? So that's helping me understand what the market is doing before I see it happen. And this typically only occurs during slow markets and during this time. And the Nikkei, it's a market with low volatility and low volume. And that's why you see the gaps in the chart. It's a very ugly chart. But this helps me get a decent understanding. So I see how the bid is at 725. So the bid's down here. The ask is now touching 730 every once in a while. And so this is helping me understand to where if I'm like, okay, I no longer want to be in this, I could just close my position. Like I could say, okay, I don't want to be in this anymore because of the way that the bid and ask is happening. We're continuing to see the ask and the sellers push it down and down and down, and I close it out. I'm not the best at it, but something I've been trying to implement in my trading to see if I could get in and out of markets a little bit quicker, rather than letting them go all the way down to my stop loss. I'm not the best though. Fills are trash when you do on the Nikkei. I mean, it's the markets, right? Especially when you're in a live account. When you're buying it, typically you would buy at who's ever willing to sell it to you, and vice versa. You'd want to sell at someone who's willing to buy it, and that's the point of a bid and ask. And that's why I really make sure I use limit orders. I like limit orders for that exact reason. Limit orders are very important for the way that I trade for that reason, because of making sure I'm getting the right fill. The right fill, making sure I'm getting the price that I want, and I don't have to worry about that unless I'm just trying to get out, right? In terms of, I'm not like this market out, and if I just get out, then of course I have to get out at market, and that's when you can see some slippage. It's like right now, if I wanted to get out, I have to pay at whatever the bid is. I want the right fill. Yeah, and that's good. So we came down. We held right there. We held the 715, 720s. So I like that. We'll see. This market, you guys can see how fast it moved. It can move really fast and without warning. So that's why I just need to make sure my eyes are on this, watching it. And then if it's taking too much time and if it continues to push lower, I might just close this and move on to the other market for the sake of my my mentality. Because I always say sometimes it's better just to close it if you start feeling a certain way, or if you're just like, okay, you know what, this is either going to lose. I'm not risking much on this one anyway, but it's less about the dollar amounts and more about the process. 350. So it's like, yeah, okay, 350 is my risk, but I don't look at it as that. That $350 risk to me is the same as 3,000 or 10,000. I don't want to lose money. It's more about the process. 1 contract, 10 contracts. Same thing for me. And here we are. See where we're pushing up. That could have been a good place to add, to be honest. Let's see if we could keep holding this. Let's see if we could hold it now. It could feel that way. You should look at wheat now. It's me and 3 other dudes. I'm not. Okay, we could look at wheat. What's wheat's ticker symbol? You'd have to throw it in there. I don't mind looking at this. I'm just going to continue watching. This is my main focus right now is the Nikkei. Main focus Nikkei. It's kind of funny. I get asked this question a lot. I just got. This is, people are saying well, this isn't much money. And I've seen this a few times actually, is why why don't you get into a bigger size? Like, it's only $350. Why don't you just let this trade play out? And it's the same thing. You guys watch Power Hour? Power Hour today, I was in 5 contracts on the Nasdaq, and it just teleported up, and I made $2,400 in like 10 minutes of the trade. And then I'm over here putting a lot of focus and a lot of time over $350. And it's the same thing like I just said. I care more about the process of the trade and the actual trade itself rather than the dollar amounts. Dollar amounts, yeah, so be it. But the process, the trade itself, how it's managed, how the markets are moving is what I fell in love with and is what I absolutely love what I do. And we're pushing right back up. Right back up. Don't distract him. Well, I'm in the trade now. What's the worst thing that can happen? I take a $350 loss plus a little bit of slippage. I need to not say that. I need to not say what's the worst thing that can happen. What's the worst that can happen? Are you trading with other firms besides Topstep? No. I trade my own accounts. I trade my personal accounts. I'm doing this with Topstep because I started out with a friend of mine that wanted to learn how to trade, and I showed him that trading at a prop firm is a lot better than putting money in the markets. And then I had a bet with them. It's a group of trading friends, and it's like, well, can you do it? And like, can we show it? And I decided to do it. And then found out that there was surprisingly a lot of traders who did not know how to trade or was in a similar position. And I was enjoying helping him, and I was enjoying helping everybody in the Discord. And then Topstep's like, hey, do you want to become a coach based off of my trading? And I was like, yeah, I do this for like as a main part of my income for a living. And then I also have commitments outside of this, of course. And I've really enjoyed coaching. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot working with these other coaches. I've learned a lot at coaching and teaching and having this class and talking to everybody here in the chat. And yeah, I don't think I would trade it for anything else. It's a blast. The dollar amounts, they don't really mean anything compared to some of what I've been able to do and help traders. Yeah, it's fun. And there's Coach Hoop in the chat. Right? You know that feeling is you get to a point and you find out that actually helping someone and seeing that, you're kind of like living vicariously to when you started to learn how to trade. And that gives you so much more joy, because this becomes like, and I was talking during Power Hour saying, this is boring, because this really is. You guys see me. You guys see me every single night, every single day when I'm on Topstep TV on air. It's the same process over and over again. I type fast. I do type fast. Yes. Yep. No, I'm not going to be adding to this trade. This is the trade. And we're making higher lows, right? So, this is a sign. This is a really good sign that it's kind of like breadcrumbs, higher low, higher low. See if we could break through this level. We're trying to break through this level, this 780, but lots of hesitation here. If we do, next level I could possibly see is maybe we could get right here to these 880s. That could be a nice level where I could close out for a take profit. You see how we hesitated there at the 880s. So that would be it. Let's see. We're trying to break out. Let's see if we can. No, I only own. I don't buy. I don't buy materialistic stuff. I'm not one to buy materialistic stuff. Lido, I don't have a Lambo. I would prefer a nice high yield CD over any Lamborghini. Give me 4 3/4% over a year, and I'll take that over a Lamborghini. You could probably get better than that with like some stocks, like Pepsi. Pepsi has a good one. 4% return is nice. No, it's good to have a very diverse portfolio. That's everywhere now. Well, 4 3/4 is 4 3/4 everywhere now. I don't know if it's everywhere. Do you ever see yourself joining and attempting the Robbins Cup? No. No, I don't. I do not. I do not. This market's moving really slow. What do you plan to do with all this money in the long run? Everybody, do you guys... Okay, I want to end this conversation once and for all. Man, how do I do this without... I'm going to say this, and it's going to... And please, you guys, it's coming from an area of just the most... Yeah, it's not to brag. It's nothing. So I am doing this to prove a point, okay? So it's not about the money. This account balance is simply me to prove a point, to show that I'm a coach, and to kind of lead by example. And I've already withdrew 180,000 earlier in the spring. And I started this to show, because like, hey, we have a lot of traders, and some of the traders like, well, can you do this? Can you do this? And, you know, I'm like, yeah, okay. You know, it's probably nice. It'd probably be very, very nice to lead by example. And I think it's only fair to lead by example and to show what is possible from coming from nothing, right? Paying for combines, getting into a funded account, and then what is possible at a prop firm. And the only way to show what's possible at a prop firm is by doing it. And so instead of saying it, right, which it's easy to say, it's like, yeah, you know what, you could go through this, you can get funded, you could go through and get a live account and do this and doing this. And so I thought, why not just show it, right? And so I decided to go that route, showing it, and it's been fun. And this, I'm not going to say it doesn't mean anything to me, but what I trade in my personal, I'm never going to be talking about, and I'm not going to ever show or give examples of, because my personal life is personal, and what I do here as a coach and doing this for the traders here is a different thing. And this, I'm not going to say it's a hobby, because it's not right for me to say it's a hobby, but this is just something to do that I wanted to show that what's possible. But this is not little money for many traders. What a breakout, right? This is a good breakout. I'm liking this. We're not getting to these 70s yet. We got to 50. We got the last fill at 84, 840, 84, 845 is the bid. I could close this out at 845. Let's see what we could get. How was the labs? Oh, it was great. I tell you what, only having 20 people in a classroom was very nice. I was able to answer questions really in depth. It was fun. And they're probably in here as well. back down to 215. Let's see, or 820. We're gonna watch this. I might just continue to trail this up. I'm gonna continue to trail this up. One is, man, I was really hoping we could get to those 870s really quick. We did hesitate here for a moment, just a really quick hesitation. Now, maybe what we could be seeing is, I'm curious to see if we come down to the 780s, and maybe can we get some continuation? Let's watch. I'm going to watch and see how we react. Which account size do you think's best? 50, 100, or 150? If you're new, if you are still trying to learn how to be consistent, then trade the smallest. Little risk. You don't have to throw money in if you're still learning and you don't have that confidence. I will always recommend that. There's no sense of spending money until you feel confident that you can do it. Yeah, well, this wasn't the account I used to prove a point. There's 180 I took out earlier this year. I'm sitting at, I don't know what I'm sitting at. I don't know what I'm sitting at. We'll have to ask Jack in the morning. I think it's at like 550,000 this year. Not doing this. Yeah, whatever that is, Al. What is that for? Yeah, 550 or 557. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to go back. That's why I like to hide this. I should keep it hidden. And that doesn't become a topic. Do you worry about Topstep copying your trades with size, therefore making you known to... I don't care, David. If anybody wanted to copy my trades when I'm doing, so be it. I mean, we do these risk disclosure. Everyone knows the risk disclosure. Everyone knows I lose 70% of the time. I don't care. I mean, I'm not pushing enough volume to make a difference with what I'm doing right here. It doesn't really matter. But like I said, I did the risk disclosure. The risk disclosure is there for a reason. This is not a signals class. I will not advise. This is not trading advice, and I'm not saying copy my trades. I'm just saying that it's not something I worry about, and it's not something that affects the way I trade because it's profits over process over profits. Here's the thing. Here's something that a lot of people in here might not know is the futures world is a whole lot bigger than what you see. It is. You guys see the social media. You see everything. You see the YouTubers. You see the quote influencers, taking screenshots, showing profits. 90% of that, just tiny. That's tiny. That's like the little speck, right? That's nothing. It's like you run over a pebble with a semi truck. It's nothing. It really is not. You see someone posting, I made $100,000 today. Like, okay, that's really, really good for an individual. And there's some individuals who I know will never post anything about this. They'll never talk about it. You'll never hear about them. You'll never know who they are. But that's an average day for them. That's a normal day. Like that is. And there's a reason why they're quiet and they don't like to talk. And I'm not one of those. Maybe one day. I'm getting up there. But and this is outside of just futures, right? This is including everything. This is including options. This is including futures. This is including stock. There's a lot more to where you some positions for small cap stocks, you have to sign and fill out a form and document because you own a bigger position of a smaller cap stock, which puts you over a percent limit. So there's a lot that you guys don't see. And so that's what you have to take baby steps first, right? Having realistic steps, realistic goals to where $200 a day is life-changing. But keep in mind, everyone here needs to understand that the futures market is huge. It's giant. Hoop knows. He's been there. He's seen it. Michael, MP knows. Eddie knows. Hogue knows. They've been there, throwing millions and millions of orders, institutions, banks, hedge funds, and we're retail, right? We're a small trader, throwing on one contract, trying to make just a little bit in and out. So that is the reality that we live in. So whatever you guys see online and whatever you guys see on social media of screenshots and everything, just understand, it's a big, big world, and everyone that you see are just little fish. Which is funny to think, though. It's funny to think, because $200 is life-changing money. $200 consistently. Look at the bond ladder. Yeah, you guys want to see it? Look. We can look at the 2-year. Yeah, let's look at the 2-year. You'll see. Look. Take a look at that. And that's just the bid and ask. And that's all, yeah. There. See that? You know what else? You know who else can be buying this and purchasing this as we were talking about Bitcoin? So let me get this back to Nikkei. So you know who else purchases on futures? You could have countries, like we've been talking about Bitcoin, right? Where we talk about an entire country having a position in something, right? Like like Armando says, you have governments purchasing bonds. We have an entire country purchasing like Bitcoin, and imagine the amount of money that is being transacted in these markets, and it's a whole new perspective once you start thinking of it like that and understanding like, oh, okay, well, I need to just be happy with just, base hits, just $200 a day. I want to focus about myself. It's about me. I'm trading. I'm the only one making my own decisions. I'm focusing on my process. I'm focusing on, my own trading. You should not care about what anybody else is doing outside of yourself. You shouldn't follow to an extent. I'm not going to follow exactly what this person is doing. I'm not going to follow exactly what that person is doing. You just need to follow and do it yourself. Many times you guys see when I'm on TopstepTV, I get into a trade and there's a flood of people saying, it's a horrible trade. That's a bad trade. You need to close it. You need to take profit. It's going to turn around. I told you short. It's short. And that is the beautiful thing about opinions, right? That's it. And then the next thing you know, some of the trades that end up going in my favor, and people are just like, wow, how did you do that? I'm following your process. It does drive me crazy a little bit. I've gotten used to it. Backseat traders. If this turns around and sells off and I only make $50 on this, there's probably people in the chat saying, oh, you should have closed it. And I'm like, yeah, let's turn back time and I will close it instead of letting it go back and hit my stop loss. How do you step the volume profile on the ladder? I'm not sure what you mean by that. $200 a day is good. $200 a day is very good. Now remember, it's average. It's average, because some days are going to be losers, some days are going to be winners, some days you're going to lose more than other losses, and then some days you're going to win more than other days. So think about it as averages. Averages over a long period of time. The longer the period of time, the more accurate the data, the more accurate the average. So understand that $200 is amazing. Like, do the math, right? You could even pull it up. $200 a day, and then you're doing it, for a month, and you average, say there's 20 trading days in a month, that's an extra $4,000 by averaging $200 a day. That's absolutely amazing. That pays the bills. It's a regular job. Yep, it is. It is a regular job. Or you could you're going for average, and then something happens like what happened today during Power Hour, and the market just teleports up 50 points, 20 points. That was crazy. It's like one of those. You're just going for a base hit, and you happen to hit the ball really good, and it just is an amazing trade. Like this, I'm not going through anything crazy. I'm looking for 870, but then what's going to happen? What if it just jumps up all the way? What if it spikes all the way up to 39,000? It's like, well, I was only going for 870, but yeah, here we are, 39,000. I'll take it. Sometimes that's why I don't like to have a take profit, to be honest. Because if I put a sell limit, or if my take profits here at 875, and we do get something like that, I kind of limited it. So that's why I like to just close out manually when I'm watching what the market does. So if we start to rally, I'll watch what it does, and if we get towards this 870 level, then I'll make that decision. But then if this market just jumps like it did during Power Hour in the Nasdaq, then I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm okay with holding it for a little bit longer. Does anyone know how profit's taxed? Your local tax advisor. Like, that's the only advice that I can say, because we have traders around the world, and taxes are different depending on where you live. YouTube it. Yeah, I won't give tax advice. Kevin Pete. And it depends on where you live. It does. We have traders from different countries. We have traders from around the world. So taxes is not something that I'm going to talk about or give advice. Chat GPT, man, Chat GPT is something else. See how slow this trade is? This is how it is sometimes, where I could go to sleep, I could go get something to eat and come back. Sometimes I will sit here and maybe watch a movie or watch a Netflix or do something else. Yeah, love watching paint dry. I mean, this is the closest thing to watching paint dry. It's candlesticks. They're it's gray candlesticks and dark gray candlesticks. I'm just going through some of these questions. Do you like the slow markets better than trading hours? I do. Ivan Ramirez asked me if I like slow markets better, and my answer is yes. It's for that reason. It's slower. I could look at these different markets. I when I'm not holding a class, I could watch these different markets and find opportunities. And I like to hold trades overnight. I mean, if you were looking to short the Nasdaq, it looks like this. This is very, I mean, look at that. Like, right? That's interesting. That's kind of holding a nice trend to, and maybe if we break through that, I could look for a long. If you're looking to short, maybe those have been some really good shorts. And Nasdaq kind of looks heavy, huh? Just lots of consolidation here in the Nasdaq. This is a 4-hour chart. Matchu. Ooh, good question. This is one that I think is going to be very good to address and talk about. This is the Nasdaq over here on the left. I'm going to watch this. Nasdaq, left-hand side. Nikkei, right-hand side. How do you decide when to trade XFAs versus live? As of now, it's going to be 100% live. I was testing some things out in XFAs, and I think I'm at a point where it's just all live. Everything 100% live for me. No more XFAs. Yeah, now we're selling off. Look at this market. So we're right back down here at the 780. So this is that area of, this was resistance. So let's see if this can become support. I want to see if this can become support. If not, I'm locked in 75 bucks on this trade. No, I'm not. It's not that, Willie. It's not exactly that. The idea is, and has always been, live accounts. Yeah, the Nasdaq is over here on the left. You guys can see it. Nasdaq, left-hand side. The Nikkei and my trade over here on the right-hand side. So it's always been about live accounts. It's always been about getting traders to be consistent and profitable and into a live account, because eventually the ultimate goal is to have your own live account and be able to do this on yourself and not rely on a sim environment, because the only person who makes money in a sim environment, I mean, if you're at a prop firm, and hopefully you're at a decent prop firm, right? What makes you take profit rather than hold through a pullback? The level, right? So why did I not take profit there is because we was at this level, right? I mean, you can say that we touched 840, but I was looking for us to push a little bit higher. I like to look for stronger levels, like major levels of support and resistance. And so, yeah, I would say the level of support and resistance is what will make me take profit compared to holding it through a pullback. So technically, I'm holding this trade. If we do start to rally, then you can say, yeah, I held this trade for through a pullback. But yeah, we don't know, is this a pullback and going to continue? Or is this just a different pullback to the short side, right? We don't know that yet, because we don't know if this is a sell-off, and then is this the pullback? And then are we going to get continuation to the downside? Maybe that was the pullback and we're going to get continuation to the downside. Or are we going to say this is the pullback, and are we going to get continuation to the long side based off of what we've been seeing? You don't know. Nobody really knows. I'm taking my risk that we're going to the long side. That's why I have a long position. That's where my stop loss is where it's at. And so I'm okay with taking the risk to the long side based off of my analysis on, over here on, say, maybe a higher time frame. Like there's some support here. It's held as support. And so maybe we could see this thing come back up into at least like these upper 800s, 38,000, upper 800s. But we'll see. It's going to be slow. We'll see how it is. I like to see this area of this resistance become support. And so far, it looks like it might be doing that. Only time will tell, right? That's my risk, 75 bucks. Until then, we are coming up to the end of class. This was a fun one. Now remember, everybody, everyone knows it's been announced. Everyone's been talking about it. I'm going to be joining Dee for the London session. So that's going to be a fun one. I'm going to end up staying awake. So I'm going to stay awake and going to be joining Dee for that London session. If not, I will see everybody tomorrow during slow markets, and then again I'll be on with Friday morning. And man, I can't tell you how fun that was for the Topstep labs. That was really fun. There's only 20 traders. It was very efficient. We got a lot of questions taken care of, and it's going to be a follow-up class next week. That was good. So until then, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. So, all right, perfect. Thank you, everybody. Take care. We'll see how this trade plays out. I like it. It's working out pretty well. And I will see you then.